Today I would like to talk about why the oil companies need strict rules and regulations and why we need to prevent oil spills from happening and one way that you can help. The year 2010 began like any other year. I was a stay-at-home mom living in Alabama, just a few miles from the Gulf Coast. Spring had just begun and the sun was shining, the flowers were blooming. Then it happened, an explosion, 52 miles off the coast of Louisiana. The Deepwater Horizon oil rig was nothing more than a massive ball of flames. 11 people were dead, 7 others were injured. Oil flowed for 87 days into the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. By the time the oil was capped, oil, gas, and dispersants had covered more than 4,000 square miles of the ocean surface and more than 1,000 miles of the coastline, ranging from Texas all the way to Florida. Just what exactly is crude oil, you ask? Crude oil is the liquid remains of ancient plants and animals. It's found below the ground or below the ocean floor. It's a product that unfortunately we can't live without. It is processed into petroleum products. People need oil to operate vehicles, heat buildings, produce electricity. People also use oil to make everyday products like plastics and solvents. However, there are steps that can be taken to keep oil from having such a negative impact on the environment. The oil industry needs strict rules and regulations to make sure that they are operating with safety as their top priority so that major accidents don't happen. When oil spills occur, they are harmful to marine animals like fish, seashell animals, marine birds, sea turtles, and dolphins. Oil exposure to marine animals results in lower growth rates, reproductive changes, abnormal developments, and reduction in breeding. Oil destroys the insulating ability of fur-bearing mammals like sea otters and the water-repelling abilities of a bird's feathers. Important species such as oysters, shrimp, and tuna could suffer population declines or become too contaminated to be safely caught and eaten. Oil spills have negative impacts on the people of a nearby region. Oil spill effects include diseases, negative economic impact, pollution, and aesthetic issues. Oil and petroleum products have many compounds which are emitted as gases and the air becomes contaminated. Oil spill pollution diseases can have negative health and economical effects on local and commercial fishermen, seamen, and ship workers. Negative economic impacts include long-term ceasing of activities like fishing, property value reduction, tourism reduction, and the disturbance of land and sea traffic, which affects import-export activities. These are just a few reasons to keep strict regulations for the oil industry, but our president is trying to break his campaign promises. President Biden promised on the campaign trail that he would ban new oil and gas permitting on public lands and waters, but the Biden administration is moving forward to resume selling leases for new oil and gas drilling on public lands. We cannot allow President Biden to break his campaign promises. We need him to use his presidential powers to halt fossil fuel drilling on public lands and waters. Stopping oil and gas production on public lands and waters and supporting communities in the transition to a renewable future will go a long way to tackling the climate crisis. It's up to us to speak up and hold Biden accountable so that he fulfills his pledge to stop new fossil fuel leasing and permitting on our public lands, and that he ensures communities have the resources they need to thrive in a world beyond fossil fuels. Biden made us this promise, and we need to fight to ensure he keeps it. Add your name today at greenpeace.org to demand President Biden to ban new oil and gas drilling on public lands and waters. I will provide a link at the end of this video. Only you can prevent oil spills.